when I first sort of got interested in radio. A few friends of mine got on a 279 bus to Edmonton from Finsbury Park, and there was we sort of had some equipment with us, and there was an abandoned council estate there at the time, and we sort of set up a pirate radio station there. We did it for about a week, but sort of, I don't know exactly what, for me it was just too far to travel to keep going down to Edmonton every day to do a radio station. But we sort of lost interest in it, and after about the first week. For some funny reason, I just completely dropped the idea. I've always sort of wanted to set up a radio station, but it was just always something I said, I'll do it as a hobby. It wouldn't ever be anything serious. I dropped the idea, decided to go back to college. I kind of did it just to sort of satisfy my mum, just because she kept pushing me to go to college and go to uni. I'm coming from a sort of West African background. It's one of those things, you have to do it. So I did it, hated it, kept dropping out of uni, kept going back in. Not knowing exactly what I wanted to do, but did it anyway. Did my final exam, didn't go back in, didn't even go to get my certificate, didn't go for my graduation, just hated every single second of it. But you know, I did it, made her happy, she was fine. Then she started asking me to go in to do a master's. That's where I had to draw the line. I'm not doing a master's, it's not going to happen. But I was sort of fortunate enough, at the time when I was at uni, I finished uni about the age of 24, so that's about 2004. I was sort of, because I sort of dropped in, dropped out, I just couldn't make up my mind what I was going to do. I spent longer than the average person did at uni. I think I spent about 4 years at uni, or 5 years or something like that. I was at the time I was sort of working in retail to sort of pay my way through uni and stuff. And I was working for a new company at the time. It was American Apparel. They just sort of set up in the UK at the time, and they basically only hired really young people in there. I was then sort of, the online department got formed, and at the age of 24, they just said, you finished uni, you've got a degree, so you must be able to do this. So just go run the online department for American Apparel. And I'd never done anything like that before, never worked in online marketing, and, you know, just sort of started to get my head around the way the internet works. So it was just, it was a role I sort of took on and did for 4 years. Within that 4 years, you know, growing up in inner city London, there's 3 genres of music you listen to: is garage, grime, jungle, and nothing else really. For me, it was sort of really, I mean, when I was growing up in the 90s anyway, for me, I was always sort of more interested in other stuff. I never let my friends know that, because, you know, you know, they look at you as weird. But my mind has always been open to sort of other things musically. And around the age of 23, 24, I sort of discovered Plastic People in Shoreditch. And that was about Plastic People have been going for a while before that. It used to be in the West End. And I used to go there religiously. Like, I used to go there every Saturday. And that's where musically I just got trained to just discovered so much new stuff. The guy who ran the place, Ade, was sort of a perfectionist when it came to music and sound. And you know, I think Plastic People was where my sort of passion for music was developed. And, you know, obviously my passion for music is what's led to NTS now. So I did that over the years. After about 2 years in the job at American Apparel, I just realized that, I knew from the beginning this wasn't what I wanted to do. I just did it. Again, it's that African thing. You have a job, you know, get money in, pay your bills, you're sorted, you don't have to worry about anything else. But I did it, but eventually got sacked because they could just tell my heart wasn't in it. 2007, 2008, got another job in online retail. Got sacked from that after about 9 months because I fell asleep in the toilet because I'm so bored. I went in there, I just used to go in on a daily basis. I don't know what it is about sitting in front of a computer, just on a desk, I just fall asleep. And I just kept falling asleep in work, so I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to the toilet, and I sat in the toilet and then come out for like an hour, and it's like, okay, you can't stay here, this is awful. But anyway, got made redundant from that, or got sacked. And so it was just sort of, it was that, at the time 2008 was a sort of an awakening time for me. I sort of lost a really close member of my family. I'd lost my job and lost my flat. I couldn't afford to pay my rent, so I had to move back into my mum's place, which was just difficult. And then you know, it was a real awakening time. I had at the time I had a girlfriend who was sort of into astronomy, and she kept saying to me, you know, this is, you know, the Saturn return. I didn't know what it meant, but she's like, this year something, you know, something's going to happen. You know, you're going through a cycle of bullshit. It's going to be fine in a minute. And you know, it was around that time, musically, I'd been from going to Plastic People for years. You know, I don't know if any of you have ever been there, but one thing you sort of aspire to as a DJ, because I used to DJ on the side as well, was to have your own night at Plastic People and to start playing. I'd always sort of been involved in sort of the East London underground music scene, so I was lucky to meet. I had a good connection of friends or DJs and stuff like that, and eventually I was sort of given a Saturday night at Plastic, and which was like a dream come true. And it's like, you know, I don't really ask for much. My bills are never that high, but I just thought, okay, I'm making enough money from this every month. I can just live like this for a while. And but then the guys I used to do that with, so one of them decided to move over to Germany, and the other one decided to had a kid, and so it was just me on my own. So I eventually had to leave that. It wasn't until sort of roughly 2010 that my sort of love for radio came up again, because I was like, I really don't want to work for anyone. Really, I mean, the love was always there, but it was just sort of hidden. Really don't want to go back into this online marketing stuff. You know, that's all I really know, because that's what I've done for like 6 years. So I don't know, I was just loafing around, really, not really doing much, just thinking of all sorts of ideas. Had a cleaning company for about a month, got a job, an eco-cleaning company, got one massive job from that, then got called by an estate agent to do the 5th floor of some building, which is when I told them, like, I can't do it, shit scared of heights, I can't climb ladders, it's just not I can't do it. And I was like, well, if there's going to be a lot of window cleaning, this is not going to happen. So dropped that after about a month. And so it was just all sorts of stupid ideas. I was selling shoes, and a friend of mine, both of us decided to try and sell grand pianos. I don't know how we came out of that one, but we tried all sorts of stupidness, and nothing really came true. But roughly about 2010, a friend of mine from sort of the scene around East London, his name is Blaze. He rang me up and he's like, look, I've got this warehouse in Hackney Downs. Blaze is like some very, you know, business smart guy. He's like, I've got this warehouse in Hackney Downs, and I'm gonna put 2 turntables there, a mixer, and put a camcorder there, and we just want to broadcast it. And I was like, yeah, come down. But he said, do you want to do it with me? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it with you. We went down there. We did it for the first week. It was on a Tuesday. We used to do it every Tuesday. And then he decided that, look, okay, so we'll do this together for a while. And, you know, we had one more person join us. His name's Tristan as well. And then that's where Boiler Room came from. Boiler Room was the first thing musically I first did. Boiler Room now is immense. It's massive. It's one of the biggest things to come out of London in a while. So that was what I was doing for most of 2010. But before that, just before the Boiler Room started, I was sort of started working on how I could set up a radio station in Dalston, because that's where I came from. Well, I come from Holloway, but Dalston is just around the corner. That's where I live. So during the time of the Boiler Room, I had to sort of, because whilst I was a part of the setup of it, I didn't feel like it was fully mine, and it wasn't the radio station I had in mind. This is something we're doing 3 hours once a week. For me, I wanted something running 24 hours a day. So I pulled out of Boiler Room for a bit just to sort of focus on NTS. And one day, just hanging out in Gillet Square, where the studio is based, I met Ollie, who owns the Vortex, which is a jazz bar. He's like really eccentric guy with loads of money. And he just said to me, we just started talking, and he had a little space. I don't know if you've been into Gillet Square, there's these little pods that just sit around sit around there. So I just seen a face I recognise. So sit around in the pods, and there's a few pods that sit there. And he just said to me, he runs a jazz label, and he just put all his CDs in there. And I said to him, if you're not using it, I'll just use it. I'll use it to do something. I don't know what you want to, I'd think of something to do with it. And he's like, yeah, just have it. And we got it out the whole place. Didn't have any money to do anything. Didn't want to borrow any money because I just personally had enough debt on my own. I didn't want to have another debt with a business. So what sort of dawned on me at the time is the sort of lack of support out there for anyone who wants to start something. The job centre had some sort of support, but as soon as the Tories came in, they cut that support, so there wasn't even that. Because that was what I was hoping on that, but that wasn't there anymore. So it was a lot of sort of trying to figure out how to get the money together. Basically, I worked out all I need is about $4,000 to get this up and running, and then we'll see how we go from there. And